Hello, everyone. My name is Peter, and I will be your instructor for today's yoga session. I'm looking forward to sharing yoga with you for a number of reasons, but I first want to just express how valuable and universal this practice is and how much of a benefit everybody can receive from it wherever they are today, and that this is a really important place to come to the practice, that there's no limitation on who can practice despite any perceived limitations that we may have. And this sort of flips an idea on its head about who we are or who we can be. So I first want to bring that up because it's something that, as many of you know, we all have challenges and different experiences in our lives that bring us to a point of growth. What Gandhi said, to be the change in the world is just to understand that change is the natural cause. It's a natural law of the universe. And yoga addresses that in a systematic way. And one of the center pieces of that is the breath. And so as we connect into the breath, we understand that the breath is something that's always with us. It's something that we can rely on, in a sense of we always can continue with a breath awareness practice no matter where we are in the world, no matter whether we find ourselves indoors or outdoors or with people or without certain people, or in a any sort of secular, non-secular type environment, that the breath is always something that we can bring with us wherever we go. And we already do, and it's just a matter of acknowledging that the breath is a vehicle for energy, the breath is a vehicle for awareness, and so we can use this to our advantage to enter more advantaged states of mind, if you will, and that this is central to the knowledge and the practice of yoga, that the physical asana and practice is basically just to allow us to tune into breath on a deeper level and to understand that breath is energy, and that in the physical body, breath is how energy moves through us. And so as we take stock of the practices themselves, we understand that they're here to serve a higher purpose. They're here to help us raise our energy. They're here to help us be more positive, more diligent, more inspired, and compassionate human beings. And that this is the goal in many ways of a practice, is for there to be an end result, or to know that there's something at least worth working towards. And in practice, there's the simple idea of connection. And connection means so much on so many different levels that it's a really simple place to go, because it allows us to understand that we have our physical body that we're connected to in our practice, and we understand that somehow our thoughts are connected to this body, that maybe as we're moving, we're having thoughts come up either about the past or the future, or even just about how we feel in the present. And then we're also aware that not only are we having thoughts about our interoception, about our internal awareness and what's happening, but we're also then aware of other people and our connections to other people. And at the highest level, this is that idea of oneness or interconnectedness, that we understand that there's something that we are all connected to, or that is much bigger than us. And so as we reconnect back to the breath consistently in our practice, we understand that the breath is connected to this, or it's a means for us to connect to that deeper principle of interconnectedness. And as we find this space of relaxation opening within us, it's something to appreciate, and it's something to take with you as especially a first practice. And if this is just a reminder, then to take helpful reminders as you go. But once again, to really focus on the breathing, on linking the breath to the movement, on relaxing and breathing and staying positive, remembering to stay positive as you practice. So once again, 3 reminders: breathe, relax, stay positive. You're going to do a great job. Do your best to follow along. Use your own best intuition about how to link the breaths to the movements or the stillness in between postures, and listen to the cues. Know that there are a lot of cues, and at the same time to not get over focused on the cues, but just focus on having an experience and enjoy the process. So thank you. Let's find a comfortable place to sit, just with our spine nice and tall. We'll start with some gentle neck circles. So just moving the head, a gentle, even circular motion, making sure to stay relaxed here. You can switch directions as needed. Just inhaling the head up, around, and exhaling the chin to the chest. Inhaling, the head tilts back and around, and exhaling, the chin goes to the chest. So we'll pause. Now we'll start just tilting and tucking without any head circle. Exhaling, tucking the chin in. Inhale, tilting the head back, opening the heart. Just connecting to the natural flow of the breath here. And just relaxing, looking over the shoulders now. Inhaling over the left shoulder. Exhaling to the center. Inhaling over to the right shoulder. Exhaling to center. Inhaling over. Exhaling back to center at your own pace now. Just going slowly here. There's no rush to get anywhere. We're simply just being here now. We'll have a gentle neck relaxer, so take your middle 3 fingers, place them at the indentation at the base of the skull next to the brainstem on either side, and just start to gently press in and massage. And then you can press in, inhale, lean the head back, and look up. So inhaling, pressing the fingers into the back of the head as you lean the head back and look up. Lift the heart and release. We'll open the arms here. Before a forward fold in the chair, we'll inhale the arms up, pressing the palms together here. Palms together above the top of the head, seated in the chair. This can commonly be done as a standing practice, but it's very valuable to practice, to know that you can practice one in a chair if for whatever reason you're traveling or are just taking a break from working at an office. So once again, we're just opening the arms and shoulders here. If you need to lower the hands to the chest or by the sides, you may. But if you're enjoying the challenge, you can keep your hands above your head for another couple seconds, and then we're going to start to reach forward for our toes, reaching the hands towards the feet. It's okay if they don't get there today. We're just reaching for the feet, finding that connection point. And here, you can just see the body folded over so that the chest is resting on the tops of the thighs. the head aiming to go between the knees, looking towards the toes as the hands reach for somewhere on the lower body. When you're ready, you can inhale, keep the chin tucked, and sit back up. We'll inhale the arms up, nice and tall, preparing ourselves for a gentle back bend. If your chair happens to have a little bit of a backrest, you can by all means use that backrest to help lift the heart and extend that back bend a little bit more. Now we'll twist over to the side, just placing opposite hand on the outside of opposite knee. So for example, we place our right hand on the outside of our left knee. And we'll twist. We can place left hand at the base of the spine. And now we're just getting a little bit of counter rotation with that right hand pressed against the outside of that left knee. As we open the chest, we can rotate at the base of the spine first, then the middle spine, then the upper spine. Just finding this seated spine twist. And releasing back to center. Take a big inhale in and twist over. Now to the opposite side. We'll say the left side. You can press your left hand now on the outside of your right knee, just while seated in the chair. Placing that right hand at the base of the spine now. Doing your best to keep your chest open as you're rotating, both opening from that left shoulder as well as rotating from the right shoulder as well, the deeper you stretch. Coming back to center, take a few moments to reset your posture. And we can practice a seated pigeon or figure 4 posture. This is just having one foot crossed over the other leg, so crossing the right leg over on top of the left knee so that the right ankle is resting somewhere around on top of the left knee. While you're in this position, do your best to keep your spine straight, and when you're ready to switch sides. You can perform little ankle or neck rotations while you're in this posture, just to help release any energy, all while remembering to take nice, deep, full breaths here. Releasing completely now. And just focusing our energy in stillness. Just find relaxation, enjoyment of being in the stillness, taking deep, full breaths. We'll now extend the arms back behind us, essentially in a T shape. We're grounding with our heels, grounding into the floor as we sit in the chair, just extending the arms back behind us to open the heart, open the rib cage. You can squeeze those shoulder blades back and together as you breathe deeper one more time. When you're ready, you can exhale, release, press the palms together at the heart center. And relax. Prepare for our standing poses with a couple of warm-ups. First, just walking in place. If you do need the chair to balance, you're welcome to use the chair to help assist with balancing at any point. Walking in place can also be running in place if you're feeling energetic today. But the goal is to just alternate so that we can practice our balance Next we'll be twisting side to side, just making sure to be gentle on the spine, especially for any sensitive areas. Just allowing the body to twist here, relax. We'll now be doing hip circles, so we'll be extending this motion from the base of the spine in a circular motion. So we extend in one direction and then the other. Just keeping the hands on the hips helps us maintain that hinging, that circular motion, so we don't overcompensate on any muscle groups. So next, just pressing the hands into the lower back, the sacrum. You can adjust your grip a few times. Inhaling as you lean back and exhaling as you tilt forward. Finally, we're now tilting from side to side with our hands on our hips. So we're standing with our feet a little wide, about shoulder width apart, and tilting from side to side. Again, isolating that movement originating from the base of the spine and extending all the way up through each vertebrae to the top of the head. You can roll the shoulders out a couple times. Just taking a nice deep breath, relaxing. If you feel the need to use the chair for tree pose, you can also use a wall. Just starting off, you can use your non-standing leg, that supporting leg, like a kickstand. If you're familiar or would like to try today, you can place the foot either below the knee or just above the knee. Just don't place it directly on the knee. Or if you prefer the full expression with the bottom of the foot turned up, you're more than welcome to practice that way. Just enjoy standing tall, rooting, connecting to the earth with your standing leg, finding that strength and poise. Feeling the interconnectedness of the breath, body, and mind. If you feel comfortable, you can release the hands out by your sides, making a T shape or the tree shape for the tree pose. When you're ready, you can bring the hands back to palm center. Release the standing leg, release both legs, and prepare for the other side. You can once again use a chair to help balance. Once again, using the foot, the non-standing leg like a kickstand, or placed on the inner thigh. You can then bring both hands to heart center. If this is for you today. Otherwise, just finding a position that feels right for you without overextending, where you can be focused on your breath and enjoy a fun challenge of trying to stand on one foot. And just find your stillness as you breathe, standing up nice and tall. Let your spine lengthen with each breath here as you maintain that equanimity, poise on one foot. And release when you're ready. So now our next practice will be the sun salutation, which is a series of a few postures practiced on the right and left side of the body. And so we start this with a simple forward fold, placing the hands on the thighs, and start to hinge forward at the hips, and let the spine relax forward in a forward fold. And just finding these first points of resistance you may feel either in the back, the neck, the back of the legs. Just breathing into these first areas of tension, and just finding that feeling of space where you can expand with the breath. It helps to connect the lower body to the upper body, so placing hands on the lower body itself. But if you need to use your hands to balance, you can always place the hands somewhere on the mat to assist with the balance. And we're here to just let the spine release, to let gravity assist us. We're not in a rush with the forward fold. And when you're ready, you can start to walk forward, stepping one foot forward, finding that lunge position, that lower lunge. So we have our feet about 3 to 4 feet apart here, staggered front and back. Width-wise, the feet are about hip width apart. And we're in our low lunge position. So the upper body's resting on the top of the front thigh while the back leg is extended out back behind us. We're doing our best to keep our back legs straight and maintain that natural flow of breath, making sure it's not forced, and that we're within our own comfortable capacity to practice. When you're ready, you can use your hands to press on the top of the front thigh to press your upper body up into a standing lunge, bringing the hands to the heart. And just feel this sense of balance. And now you can extend the hands out to either side as you rotate towards the outside wall of your mat. So relaxing the arms back to center. This is just a simple rotation from the standard lunge into the Warrior One pose. And then we can lean back briefly in our lunge once again with the hands at heart center. And when you're ready, you can extend the hands back to the mat. Stepping our front foot back now, you can walk the legs out in a downward facing dog. So we have our hands, both hands forward, both feet in the back, and we're pressing ourselves up off the ground in a sort of inverted V shape. So our hips are lifted up towards the sky, and we're really feeling as though our hips, our belly button are being lengthened and lifted, pulled in equal and opposite directions to the relative to the top of the head, so that our head and our tailbone are reaching in equal and opposite directions, even the heels and the tailbone reaching in equal and opposite directions. Taking deep, full breaths here. You can start to straighten the body in a upward push-up position or plank pose. And just lower the knees down if this is too challenging for you. And then lower the upper body down, preparing for upward facing dog. Now press the upper body up with the hands. And in this gentle floor back bend, inhale, upward dog. Look up at the sky if you can. Generally, just focus on taking long, gentle, full breaths here wherever you find the expression of the posture today. Just really focusing on enjoying the experience rather than pushing too much. We're really about staying gentle, so let's press back for a child's pose, where we just reach our arms forward as we sit our hips back. And this will complete the first half of our sun salutation. This is now going to be repeated on the opposite side of the body. So we'll just be switching sides. We'll briefly press up into our downward facing dog. And then we'll step our opposite foot forward for our low lunge. So if you did the left foot last time, we'll do the right foot this time. So we have our hands extended towards the ground on either side of our front bent leg, with our back leg extending straight out behind us. Once again, the feet about 3 to 4 feet apart. Now you can lift yourself up. So we have our hands at the heart center. We're standing, and now we can gently rotate the body from the front of the mat towards the side of the mat. So you're not counter-rotating, but just rotating in the direction that your back foot is facing. So if you have your back foot as your left foot, then you would rotate towards the left. Allowing the chest to open a little bit more here. Taking a few more deep breaths in our lunge posture. And then extending back towards the earth. Relaxing, releasing that foot to meet the other one once again in downward facing dog. So we're doing our best to make a straight line between our hands and our tailbone. And then once again, lowering from downward facing dog into our plank or upward push-up pose. Lowering the knees if you need to here, and then lowering the upper body with the strength of the arms and the chest. And with the arms by the sides, pressing the upper body up, looking up, leaning back. Opening the chest and the heart here, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Do your best to squeeze your legs together, engage the glutes, and take a deep, full breath in, maximizing the relaxation that you feel in this posture. We'll press ourselves up onto all fours, hands and knees, and then press yourself back into child's pose. So this is the final child's pose for the sun salutation. While sun salutation as a formal practice does not include the child's pose, it's wonderful to finish with a round of challenging postures with a gentle restorative posture like child's pose. So we're really focusing here on reaching the arms forward, extending the hips back towards the heels, but by no means is that the end goal. Our goal here is really to surrender and release into the earth and into the mat and let go and make it a process of letting go rather than looking a certain way. So now you can experiment with sitting back on the heels, but if this is too much, you can find a place to sit comfortably in a chair just for a moment. This posture is known as Vajrasana, firm pose, or thunderbolt pose. It's very common as a seated meditation pose. It allows us to release tension in the ankles, knees, and hips, which commonly store a lot of tension, in addition to allowing the spine to stay straight and vertical. So now we'll just be transitioning to a simple straight leg posture, just stretching one leg at a time. You can interlace the fingers on the top of the outstretched thigh with the opposite thigh, knee bent, with the foot of the bent leg pressed against the inner thigh of the straight leg. You can now start to hinge forward, lean forward, rather than immediately trying to round the spine and reach for the toes. We're more about evenly stretching the whole spine, so rather than know that there's certain ways to compensate our mobility, we can, for example, bring our knee into our chest so that the knee's bent, and then hook our fingers around our toes with the knee bent, rather than trying to grab for the toes with the legs straight. However, wherever you find your hands today with your arms outstretched, you're welcome to find new space to expand in a way that feels right for you. I'm just focusing on extending the spine, releasing with each breath. So let's switch sides. So we have one foot placed at the groin, essentially, with that foot flat against the outstretched inner thigh of the straight leg. And pressing the fingers interlaced into the top of the thigh. You can stretch that way, or once again, you can bend the knee so that the knee comes all the way into the chest, and you are reaching for the toes of what is now a bent and not outstretched leg. And then you can outstretch the leg again and see how your sensation changes as you try different variations of a posture at the same time, picking something and then sticking to it and just enjoying your breath and releasing. You can round the spine fully here. Just make sure that you're not overly straining any of the joints, either by overextending or adding too much mechanical pressure in any way. Just let your breath guide your energy. So inhaling, sitting up nice and tall here. We'll transition from our one leg stretch to a butterfly pose. So this is here, we're just exploring bringing our soles of our feet together. So bringing the hips up onto a higher surface, such as a cushion, can be beneficial for this posture. But here we're just focused on releasing the hips, letting go of any tension the inner thighs, and the lower back. This is where a lot of our power is stored, and this pose is called butterfly because we can flap our wings, so to speak, moving our knees up and down. Helps us feel like we're getting ready to emerge from our cocoon of this class. And wherever you find yourself in this butterfly pose, there's no perfect expression, so to speak. We're simply just experimenting and finding different ways that our body moves and feels. And this is a particularly unassuming yet challenging posture. So approaching it with an open mind and compassion for oneself. So we'll extend our legs out straight briefly after our butterfly, just to let them relax. You can wiggle them and just let them move around as they need to. We'll press ourselves up in a tabletop position, so you can do it with either straight legs or bent legs here. Straight legs is going to be more challenging. Bent knees will be much easier. Just finding a simple tabletop and then extending and reaching towards the feet. You can just allow the hands to rest on top of the legs, or on top of the shins. And just seeing if you feel any difference with the two-legged forward fold. Just feeling for a moment here. We'll lie down on our backs. You can keep the knees bent. And just focus on the spine, relaxing completely. We'll pull our right knee into our chest. You can extend your left leg towards the floor, just sticking it out straight on the mat as you pull that right knee into the chest. You might feel a little pinch in the hip. This is normal, but remember not to extend into any sensation of pain. And just focus on keeping your breathing slow and even. We'll switch sides now, pulling that left knee into the chest. You can interlace your fingers and wrap them around the top of the knee. We might say the bottom of the knee just above the shin, right below the kneecap, one might say. Relaxing the shoulders so that both shoulders are resting on the mat if you can. Really allowing the heart to open here. Relax, release. Both legs to the mat straight. And then bring both knees in bent, close to the glutes. So we have our feet flat on the floor, just below our glutes. We're laying down with our hands by our sides, pressing down into the mat with your hands and feet. You can lift the hips up in a low bridge pose, and then interlace the hands underneath the glutes to get a little bit more leverage. So we're squeezing the hands together underneath the glutes. As we squeeze those shoulder blades together, we can feel how we're able to lift our glutes up just a little bit higher in this bridge pose. And then when you're ready, you can release the hips back down to the mat. You can bring the knees into the chest. And hugging the knees into the chest here. You can rock back and forth ever so gently. And then we'll practice a simple spinal twist before our final resting posture. So we'll hook our right foot behind our left back of knee. With our left back of knee, left leg extended, we'll twist that right knee, right leg across the left side of body. We'll open the right hand so the right hand stays flat open, arm extended, twisting with the right hand placed on top of the right knee that's twisted across the left side of the body. We'll extend and release and try that again on the left side. So left toe hooks behind right knee on the back of the right knee. Left arm opens up as the right hand is placed on top of the left knee, twisting the whole body to the right side as the left shoulder, left arm stays open, reaching towards the left. So as the left arm reaches out towards the left knee reaches out towards the right. So in this way, you're creating a dynamic sense of stretch and release. A safe way to apply what one might call torsion on the joints while in a supported resting posture on the floor. This is known as the supine spine twist. It's a very common pose for releasing many parts of the spine. And there's a perfect transition into Savasana, or the final resting posture. And this is an important posture in the same way that sleep is an important thing for humans to do, that the resting pose, even if you do it for 1 or 2 minutes, allows the postures to integrate at a deeper level, that this is where our ability to rest, become resilient, to be energetic, to be aware, stems from our ability to relax. And laying still on the ground gives us the opportunity to focus on just that. So release completely and thank yourself for today's practice, for showing up, and for being your best.